The Yankees have one of the best prospect systems in the major leagues, and it's mostly because of their top 10. Now, everyone knows about the top two guys in our system, the potential that Jason Dominguez brings, being signed at 16 years old, and now at only 19 at the AA system, looks to possibly make a run at the major leagues before the age of 20. You also have the IQ and MLB readiness of Anthony Volpe, who seems to be the future at shortstop. You also got some draft prospects in there like Spencer Jones and Trey Sweeney that get talked about as potentially guys who we can look to in 2025 or so. But there's one guy that never gets talked about unless it's trying to trade for Brian Reynolds and we need to throw a prospect in there that's highly ranked. He's the 5th prospect in our system. His name is Everson Pereira. Everson is a left fielder out of Venezuela, only 21 years old, doesn't turn 22 till April. Look, I understand why there's not enough fanfare around him for him to be talked about forever and ever. He, according to scouts, is sort of level across the board. He's sort of a jack of all trades, master of none type of player. But that type of player is good to potentially build off of, right? I believe that having a guy who's ranked, so the way Major Leagues ranks it is it's 0 to 70 on their ranking system. And he is ranked at 50 across the board with 3 ranked 55, which is average to above average everywhere. But nowhere is he overly exceptional. The thing that gets people excited about Dominguez so much is he's ranked at 60 to 70 everywhere. That's where people are like, holy shit, he's going to be a stud. With Pereira, nothing of the sort is coming because he's only ranked in that 50 range. But a guy who's like that can serve as a really good role for this Yankees team that really has no direction at left field. We have Oswaldo Cabrera, who we all love. But again, he sort of came out of the blue. And if we have a kid who's on the 40-man roster who has the potential to do everything Oswaldo does, only better, we may have to look at the prospects of that. He will most likely be invited to spring training, and I could see if he has a really good spring training, he gets a shot at least on the bench. He'll at least take over what Florial served last year, which was once injuries come, he gets an opportunity to prove himself. And I'm still not fully given up on Estevan Florial. He's a young guy who has a lot of speed, a lot of defensive potential, and I believe his hitting will sort of come with time. He's just very young and raw right now. But anyways, back to the subject. That's the thing about Pereira, though. What I just said about Florial, how he's raw. A lot of Pereira, he's sort of, I'm not going to say maxed out because that's more of a diss than anything. He sort of has the MLB skill right now. He's just not overly impressive in those skills. So I believe that with time, a good spring training, and possibly a slump from Cabrera, a falling out with Aaron Hicks, which I sort of am assuming is going to happen based off of his sort of reception in Yankees land right now, that the Yankees and Aaron Hicks are going to have a falling out. To me, there's no way around that. So with one of those things happening, I could definitely see a guy like Everson Pereira sliding in there. But I could understand why people would love to put him in a trade. Because again, he's not overly excited. Again, he's a level prospect everywhere. He's not overly we can pinpoint one thing that he's going to do super well in the major leagues. It's just not something he has. One thing he does have is he's basically MLB ready. And a team like the Pirates may love that. So I can understand why people love to throw him into these trade talks, because he's probably appealing to a club like Pittsburgh, to a club like Arizona, these clubs that have really good players on bad teams, because now they're dangling MLB-ready prospects that can eventually serve as something to help them build. The fact that the Yankees need left field stability, and the fact that Everson's been in the system since 2017, has done really well all the way up through the rankings. Last year hitting 13 home runs. Overall, he seems like he's almost ready. And so along with Volpe possibly getting the starting job at short in spring training, we got to start thinking about the prospect of Everson Pereira getting the starting job in left, and possibly dangling an Oswaldo, as sad as I would be, because he was one of my favorite players last year. Don't take this as me wanting him to leave. It's more of who has more potential to be great. And like I said in one of my recent videos, I see Oswaldo maxing out as a utility guy that everyone wants, not a highly talented guy with maximum potential. Everson Pereira is the type of guy who can have that type of potential. Hopefully you enjoyed. Don't forget about Everson Pereira when you're talking about Yankees prospects. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.